Near the beginning of this podcast, when I started, I was talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, how they are going to be the worst team this year. Now, of course, the Jaguars, you already saw them trying to go for a rebuild. Of course, last year they traded Jalen Ramsey. Now, Jalen Ramsey wanted out, so it was a little bit different, but they traded Jalen Ramsey, got a lot for Jalen Ramsey. And now they traded their other star, Yannick Ngakoue, to my Minnesota Vikings, which we will talk about today. Now, I know his name is Yannick Ngakoue. I think it's easier to say Yannick. Okay, people will probably get mad. But they basically gave Yannick Ngakoue to us for free. They gave him to us for free. What Yannick Ngakoue should have been worth would be a first, a second, and probably a couple other picks. Instead, all we had to give up for him was a second and a fifth. Not only did the Vikings have to give up basically nothing for one of the best defensive ends in the league. Now, one of the best pass rushers in the league for sure. I'd say he's probably one of the best defensive ends in the league with his footwork and stuff, and it's going to fit really well with the Vikings. And I'll be saying why and how the Vikings just basically robbed the Bills in this. This is such a good trade for the Vikings, and Jaguars are going full tank. They are tanking for Trevor all 2020. They just released Leonard Fournette and was picked up by the Buccaneers. We will talk about that later. And now leaving their only stars to be DJ Chark and Josh Allen. When I say Josh Allen, I am not talking about Bills quarterback, so don't correct me. They have a defensive end called Josh Allen, or named Josh Allen, who's a really good defensive end, by the way. And of course, they're going all tanking mode. Now, I know they also have a kicker. I think Josh Lambo, he's really good too, but we're not counting kickers here. We're talking about like star players. But like I've been saying, Gardner Minshew is not a starting quarterback. He's not. He's a good backup quarterback at best. I would not have Gardner Minshew as a starting quarterback, which is why I do think they will be tanking for Trevor or whoever the top quarterback is in the league. Of course, we don't know who the top quarterback will be in the 2020 or 2021 draft, just like we didn't know from this last year. 1 year ago today, we were talking about tanking for Tua. We were talking about tanking for Tua Tagovailoa because he had a great season in Alabama. He had a great season in Alabama. And then, of course, Joe Burrow came out of nowhere and became the best quarterback. Not only that, but also Tua got injured. So that made Joe Burrow raise his draft stock, and Tua fell down to the 5th spot. So we don't know who really they're going to be tanking for. Now, right now, we are saying tanking for Trevor because obviously he is the best quarterback in college football as of today. We don't know how that could be. Maybe Justin Fields. Justin Fields could honestly also be the number one pick next year. We don't know. We're going to see how this college football season will shape out. So the Vikings gave up basically nothing. A second round pick in 2021, and then a 5th round, I think, centennial pick. Basically nothing. They got him for free. This is easy, great pick. Not only that, but he took a massive pay cut. To come from Jacksonville Jaguars to the Minnesota Vikings. Massive pay cut, which is great team-friendly deal, considering we have to pay some of these players, and we didn't have much money to pay Ngakoue anyways. Vikings used up like all the rest of their cap space on Ngakoue, so him taking a team-friendly deal was really nice. Not only that, but the Riley Reiff deal. We are going to talk about the Riley Reiff deal as well. This is great for the Vikings defensive line. Our defensive line was probably the biggest concern. No, cornerback. Cornerback was the biggest concern, but the Vikings definitely on defensive line have made the biggest moves out of every other position. Cornerback, you can justify that, but every other position, the Vikings have made huge moves on the defensive line, letting go of Everson Griffin and letting go of Linval Joseph, who were star players for the Vikings. Now, maybe not in 2019, but years prior than that, they were star players for the Vikings. I think they should also move on from Shamar Stephen. They also moved on from Stephen Weatherly. Stephen Weatherly was a player that's been playing for the Vikings for a long time, was picked up by the Carolina Panthers. I think they should also move on from Shamar Stephen because, like I've been saying, it's a deal we do not need to pay, and we have players in his spot. Jalen Holmes showed that he is better than Shamar Stephen last year. Hercules Mataafa, you can see what he can do. Armon Watts, I think he could be better. And then, of course, we also drafted James Lynch. So we know at least Jalen Holmes can fill in for Shamar Stephen and look better. So this is what I've been talking about. I think that they should cut Shamar Stephen and completely change their defensive line. Everyone except for Danielle Hunter, which, by the way, them bringing in Michael Pierce also, we're going to see a lot of 3-4 defenses, which is when you have 3 people in the dirt and then 4 linebackers. So with Michael Pierce, now, of course, Michael Pierce opted out of this 2020 season. So we probably won't be seeing that this 2020 season, but years going on, we're going to be able to keep Ngakoue and Danielle Hunter. They're such young players. They can be playing for another 10 years if you want them to. They are young players. I think they're both 25 years old. And then Michael Pierce is like 27. So our defensive line, our star players are so young. And then you look at these other people, Jalen Holmes, sure, step in. We have a very young defensive line that could be looking a lot better in the future. And our linebacker group is great. So running a lot of 3-4 defenses would be great because our linebacker group is amazing. I mean, of course you have Eric Kendricks, of course you have Anthony Barr, but outside of that, they're looking really good. We brought in Troy Dye, I think, in the 5th round. I was saying that was one of my favorite picks in the draft, maybe even my favorite, because of how, of course, getting a linebacker in the 5th round that's really good is not that much of a surprise because there's so many linebackers, but still, that was a really good pick by the Vikings. And then, of course, we also have Cameron Smith and we have Eric Wilson. So our linebacker group is great, and we can be seeing this a lot more. I was saying they should have done this last year, although last year Linval Joseph was not looking as good as he was years prior than that, and we were terrible against the run. So if Michael Pierce is, because he's a great run stopper. Michael Pierce is an amazing run stopper, and Ngakoue and Danielle Hunter can get to the passer without blitzing. Of course, the Vikings can, and that would be great to see. So this is a very young, strong defensive line that we could be seeing looking great in the future. Now, as of this next season, I do not think so. I think that we're still going to be a little bit hard against the run. Fadi Odenigbo is a defensive end who was going to be starting, and of course, Fadi Odenigbo has earned that starting role. But you have to mind it. You have to mind that Danielle Hunter has questionable injuries right now, and if you can have a Fadi Odenigbo step in for Danielle Hunter and still Ngakoue on the other side, that is looking really good. So, of course, Fadi has earned that starting role, but he's not going to get it because it's just better for Ngakoue to start. And I keep saying Danielle Hunter here when I'm talking. I mean to say Fadi Odenigbo. Danielle Hunter does not play on the inside. He's a pass rusher. Fadi Odenigbo plays on the inside. He's also a pass rusher, though, but that's what I mean to say here. So whenever I say Danielle Hunter, just imagine I said Fadi Odenigbo. Thank you. You can have Danielle Hunter step in, maybe have the players rest, or better yet, Danielle Hunter on the inside. Last year, Danielle Hunter played great on the inside. Now, of course, he's not great against the run, but an amazing pass rusher, and you can get that interior rush that the Vikings really needed in the 2019 season, which playing him on the inside would also be a great decision. He's another young player, 26 years old. So Fadi on the inside could be looking really good for the Vikings. Even though he's not going to be starting and he's earned that starting role, this is the best thing for the Vikings, by far. This is going to be looking really good. We don't need a blitz to get to the quarterback anymore, although they should still blitz Anthony Barr more. They don't need to blitz anymore because, of course, Ngakoue, Fadi, we are able to get to the pass. What we need to do is get against that run, which Armon Watts is great at. I want to see him play more. I want to see Jalen Holmes play more, and I want to see Shamar Stephen cut. If they do that and completely change the defensive line outside of Danielle Hunter, who's the greatest player on the Vikings team, we could be looking like a really good defensive line. Now, of course, Michael Pierce is opting out, so I don't think that we're going to be that good as we should be able to be, because Michael Pierce is a great run stopper that was going to bring that to the Vikings team, because that was the biggest need, was that interior defensive line for this 2020 offseason, which they did fill, but of course he did opt out. So our cap space is gone now. Our cap space is completely gone, so we will not be paying Dalvin Cook, which, like I've been saying, I did not think that the Vikings were going to pay Dalvin Cook anyways. I didn't think it was going to happen. They brought in Yannick Ngakoue on a team-friendly deal. This is a great move by the Vikings. I did not expect them making such a great move, and I didn't see I did see the Jags making this move. This is a move that looked like a terrible move for the Jags because the Jaguars did get robbed in this trade. It looks like a terrible move for the Jags. Jags are going full rebuild. They're going entire rebuild. They are by far the worst team in the league, and if they can get that first overall pick, get a quarterback, and Gardner Minshew is a good backup. Gardner Minshew is not a starting quarterback. I've been saying that, but a good backup. He was an amazing 7th-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They still have DJ Chark in the offense. Get a new running back, maybe 3rd round next year if they do get the 1st-round pick, which they should. They could be looking good in the future. They're the worst team. I would give them 3-12 at best. Wait. 3-13 at best. I don't see Jags going far at all. They are in a pretty easy division, though, so maybe more than 3 wins, but I think that they will be the worst team because that's what they're going for. They have 3 good players, and that's it. And one of them is a kicker, so he doesn't do much. So Jags are going full rebuild, and it was a pretty good move by the Jags. I feel like giving him away you could definitely have got more from him. They just gave him away from the Vikings. He wanted to go, too. I don't blame him wanting to go. I mean, I don't blame him wanting to go at all. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I mean, I would rather live in Jacksonville than Minnesota, honestly. That weather's nice. Still, let me know what y'all think about this.